serving spiritual seekers around the world. Unity Online Radio.
Thank you for tuning in for this Unity Partner Program. Unity Online Radio partners with spiritual leaders from organizations whose mission and messages complement Unity's. We are pleased to bring you this program on Unity Online Radio, the voice of an awakening world.
Welcome to Living on Purpose with psychology doctoral candidate Jesse Herriott from Atlanta, Georgia. Are you ready to make the switch? A switch from barely living to living on purpose. During the next hour, you will discover principles to help you live a fully functioning, conscious, and purposeful life. The all is mind, and so are you. Let's live on purpose. Now, here's your host, Jesse Herriott.
Okay, thank you folks for joining me again for another episode this week of Living on Purpose. In this hour, we're going to dive right into some transformative information that will help you in the unfolding of your authentic self and to consciously become more and more of who you are designed to be. Mentality, but truly living in alignment with your passion and purpose. This is the unfoldment that I'm talking about, sort of like that process of individuation that Carl Jung referenced to. It's lifelong development of who you potentially are, as the seed that's in that tree that's inside of that seed that eventually becomes that huge creature, that huge plant that we get our shade from, and that helps to contribute to the oxygen on the face of the planet. That's what we're talking about, the process of individuation, becoming more and more of your authentic self. And on this week, I want to introduce to you guys someone who is flowing in that same vein of consciousness. This week on Living on Purpose, welcome to the show a very special guest, a transformative teacher, spiritual counselor, and religious science practitioner, Brother Judah Isvaran. Welcome to the show, Brother Judah.
Thank you. Grateful to be here, and, thank you for having me.
Yes, I'm excited. We connected, myself and my wife helps me select the guests, and we saw Brother Judah's information through Facebook. That's why, folks, social networking is very important, and it can be used, it's sort of like a global brain almost, and it can be used to connect with folks that you may not connect with on through just physical meetings. Sometimes you connect socially first, and so that's how I came across this information. And there was just a level of vibrational level of energy that came across, just through the social network. So I knew he had to be a guest on this show. And so, folks, you guys are in for a treat. Hold on to your seats if you're at work fulfilling your calling, your vocation. If you can't get in tune with the episode, just listen and let it soak in, and download the archives for free after 6 p.m. on today. So, Brother Judah, let's jump right in. To begin with, take us into who Judah is for some of our listeners out there that haven't had a chance to be blessed by your work.
Who I am? Wow, that's
Brother Judah, you there?
Can you hear me? Yeah, that's such a vast question. Who I am the I am. I am the all. But on a physical level, I'm a teacher. I'm a counselor. I am a change maker. I'm a transformational servant. I'm just here to make an impact and to leave a legacy of a world transformed and a world that works for everyone.
Oh, wow. So, Brother Judah, what was your journey of unfoldment like from where you were before to becoming a licensed religious science practitioner?
Okay. Well, for me, I grew up I grew up in Toronto. I was born in Kingston, Jamaica, and I grew up in Toronto, and I grew up in the Catholic school system, which is really ironic given the work that I'm doing right now. But I went to Catholic school through elementary, through high school, and going to Catholic school, and even in the process of being in religion class, just always within myself having a alternate experience, a different understanding of what God is, and coming up against that in class, always, challenging my teachers about my understanding versus my understanding of God versus the understanding that they were trying to, give to everyone. So, my life has been an expansive journey of bringing that understanding that I know of God, not being this bearded guy in the sky that sits and judges and is angry and jealous, moving from that God to the God of my understanding, which is the God within, the God within, and being that unique expression of God that each and every one of us are.
I feel you there, Brother Judah, because that's sort of where my journey began as well. In the classroom, a lot of people have had an awakening, through their schooling and through their education. I know back in the '60s, they can kind of concur some of the older listeners that their awakening began just by stepping out. There's something about that arena of being in that cocoon for learning. There's something about it produces an environment that's just right for that birthing. And there are many times in our lives where we go through this birthing experience, but that experience right there in the classroom was where my mind began.
Absolutely. And, for me, there was a period where, I completely stepped away from religion, had my resistance to it. But, what was important in me taking distance was that I never left God, because I realized God was within me. And, going through the process of life, I remember there was a particular time back in the late 90s, around 1997, an ex-girlfriend of mine, she brought a book to me, and that book was Conversations with God by Neale Donald Walsch. And I remember initially many other people bringing this book to my attention, and there was this aversion, this resistance I had to it because of the titles, so I thought, here we go again, another dogma that someone is going to try to, push down my throat. So I avoided it for a while, and I finally picked it up when my ex-girlfriend gave it to me. I read this book, and I remember being in the third chapter, reading this book, and I remember tears coming to my eyes, and I remember just the whole world opening up, and me just, in that moment, just feeling like, wow, you know what? I'm not crazy, and that there are others who share a like mind and a like understanding of what God is. And that book was profound for me. It was a game changer, and it really set the fire on my path, really opening me back up to my mission, my purpose in life, to really have people get that God isn't something outside of yourself, and, to break down those chains of imprisonment based on how a lot of the world is living and experiencing God.
Very true, very true. So, in your experience, based on your level of unfoldment, and it's funny, I was talking to my wife the other day, the there are two ways that even Rebecca talks about learning, one through pain and another through insight and revelation. They both can produce growth for the participant, but the information and the experiences, they kind of sort of help make that process unfold easier. What was there like one key event in your life, or one call to action, one moment where it was just like, you know what, this is it for me, that caused that unfoldment?
You know, I had a really profound awakening. You know, I remember I was living in Miami Beach in the late 90s. And, you know, I was working as an actor, working as a model, and just, you know, kind of really living the surface life. And, you know, going through, you know, drugs, alcohol, sex, just living this really decadent life, and, you know, coming up against it one particular night, just feeling completely empty, feeling completely alone, not knowing what direction my life is going in, and completely feeling unfulfilled. And I remember sitting in a nightclub one night, and there was a gentleman, or, you know, it's going to sound like a really crazy story, but I met a gentleman. He was wearing all-white garb, and he looked at me and he said, "I came here for you." And we sat for the next 2 hours and had one of the most profound conversations ever. This man, he was reading aspects of me that I was trying so hard to hide from him. He told me about my past. He told me about what I was up to in the present. His very presence frightened me, but, you know, we took a journey that night, and we took a look at my life, and he opened up some insights for me, and literally that night was like a dark night of the soul. Like, this man saw me. I don't know where he came from, and I never saw him after that, but that journey was a transformational journey with that man at that moment. And, you know, from that moment on, I decided to walk the spiritual path.
That's amazing. And you know what? That story reminds me of Jacob wrestled with the angel. In Kabbalah and in Jewish mysticism, they say that the angel was the higher self. You know, and he wrestled it through his hip out of joint. He sort of like having a bad dream, just on a literal, you know, on a literal way of interpreting it. But it reminds me of that, and that is powerful because I had an experience like that too, coming up in the South and working my way through a ministry as a young guy and being a youth pastor. I met this woman who told me things about myself and about my future that, you know, I couldn't have dreamed, and how could she have known, you know, these details about me and telling me about personal stuff, things that I didn't tell anybody about, you know. And it's sort of like that moment kind of sort of opened me up to maybe there is a world, you know, maybe there is something bigger to my whole perception and experience of what I called God at the time.
I mean, brother, let me tell you, like, I cannot explain who this man was. I just know after meeting this man, I knew that he came from somewhere else, is all I can say to you, you know? And like you said, you know, in him saying things about me, like speaking of me, he spoke things that no one knew of me. Things, you know, the things that you hide behind the wall, there was no hiding in front of it. It was complete transparency. So, you know, I know there are angels walking this earth, and I know that this man walked into my life for a reason at the darkest hour of my life, where just nothing was making sense to me in my life. And I couldn't have been far away from my purpose, just completely lost and alone. So, you know, like you said, that night was the opening of the dark night into the light.
Wow, that's powerful. So that brings me on to my next point, mentorship. Can you take us into your level of unfoldment as far as mentorship is concerned? After you had that moment of awakening, and for those that are listening that are new to this kind of talk, think about it like this: when you go to sleep at night and close your eyes, and then you wake up the next morning, that is also an experience of what we call a new birth or regeneration. But after your specific moment, Brother Judah, of regeneration and awakening, did you find yourself on a path where you were more hermetic-like, were you more, alone, or was there a mentor or mentors that you came across that helped you in your development?
Well, I can say I've had quite a few mentors in my life. I took a training in New York. The company that gave this training was called Personal Dynamics, and it's a personal effectiveness training. It's about a 6-month process, and the trainer that I had, Kathy Benson, I mean, this woman has been a force and a power in my life, really awakening me even further to what my purpose is. And, after the experience, we've become the best of friends. But this woman really woke me up to walking in this world as a servant, to really stand up, to use my voice to make a difference wherever I go. And really, she's the catalyst that set me on this path to, being a transformational trainer, heading into the whole studies of, science of mind and new thought, and really becoming a counselor, a teacher, a mentor, working with corporations, working with individuals. I would say this woman has been really instrumental on my path. And also in New York, I met Michael and Ricky Beckwith at an Omega retreat, and he was also a profound influence in my life at that time, who really set me on the path, to taking some of these courses in the science of mind and going on further to my practitioner training.
Wow. We're talking today with Brother Judah Isvaran, religious science practitioner, teacher, and spiritual counselor. I'm Jesse Herriott today, and when we return, we'll continue the conversation with Brother Judah and mentorship right here on Unity Online Radio. Stay tuned.
Our goal at Unity Online Radio is to continue expanding our spiritual programming and growing our listening audience. To help us become an ever stronger voice in today's world, we ask for your support. Please visit www.unity.fm and click on Donate Now. Thank you.
Online Radio is turning 5 this year, and we're throwing the biggest bash of all, a cruise to the Caribbean, November 10 through 17, 2012. We'll celebrate in style aboard Holland America Line's Eurodam with sunshine, fine dining, and a selection of island excursions at beautiful ports of call in the Eastern Caribbean. Plus, feed your spirit with music, message, and meditation. Your favorite hosts will be there, and we hope you will join us too as we celebrate 5 years of spiritual programming at Unity Online Radio. For more information, visit www.unity.fm/cruise.
The Unity message is universal, uniting, empowering, and transformational. Carrying this message to the world with the power of music and song are scores of singers and songwriters who dedicate their extraordinary gifts to helping heal the world and spread the message of unity and oneness. These are the messengers of unity.
We salute the messengers of unity, the voices of the one voice of all humanity, heroes with weapons of melody and rhyme, waging peace one song at a time.
Tune in to Pazzapalooza, Music That Matters, with host Richard McDeesey, to hear the music and the artists who are changing the world, one song at a time. Fridays at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern on Unity FM, the voice of an awakening world.
You've been listening to Living on Purpose with Jesse Herriott. If you have a question or comment about today's broadcast, or if you'd like to join in the discussion, friend us on Facebook at Jesse Herriott or email us at livingonpurpose@unity.fm. Now, more Living on Purpose.
And we're back. Thank you guys for joining me today for another edition of Living on Purpose with Jesse Herriott. We're talking today with Brother Judah Isvaran. He is a religious science practitioner, spiritual counselor, and teacher. Brother Judah, before we left to go on break, we were talking about mentorship and the mentors that you encountered in your life. I know that mentorship has been very, very important for my own development. Right now, where you are, was there a point in your development, as far as mentorship is concerned, that you had a longing for spiritual community, or was your path more individualistic? Because right now, the people that I encounter, some of them, they're at this rift where they're not sure whether or not they want to continue on their path on their own and just follow the longings of the soul in and out of communities, or find a specific community to engage with, because that is beautiful in itself too.
Well, I truly believe in community, and I also believe in, the individuation of our unique path. Like, for me, having a mentor, is just simply about, having someone to, someone said something to me once, and it was, only a fool counsels himself, and, that really stuck with me. He's like, especially people doing transformational work, there's got to be someone that you can lean on, someone that, you can speak with, someone that you can, share your breakdowns and get support on breaking through, because we're all on our unique path. No matter how great the teacher is, everybody's on their path, and everyone experiences some form of breakdown, and everyone needs support in some way. Now, the thing is to not become an addict of your mentor, but, just using your mentor for simple guidance, perspective. Ultimately, the ultimate mentor is within yourself.
Right, and that's powerful. I'm glad you said that, because relationships are very important. They call this the postmodern era, and you can see it and look out into the world with the high divorce rates, and right now, not to even get into politics, but just the whole notion of relationships, that they're very, very important now. It's sort of like a hot topic, and it's been that way for a while. So I totally dig what you're saying on so many levels. So it's in regards to spirituality and just ordinary, just interacting with people. The whole notion of relationships is important, because you can't always advise yourself, and you shouldn't be out there alone. And if anyone's listening and they're going through that period of aloneness, just understand that you are not alone, that there is a community out there for you. And is there a specific size of that community? Could that community just consist of maybe a few people?
My community of mentors, you mean? Can you elaborate on that question for me, please?
Yeah, your community of support and mentorship. What if there are people out there that don't really have, someone, I guess, to call a spiritual teacher, but they get that from a community of friends that are on the same path as them, and they kind of sort of pull strength from each other, and they share resources, like a smaller cell group.
Oh, absolutely. I love that concept. I call it the concept of the tribe.
Yeah.
I believe, we all have our own little individual tribes of like minds, that do pool resources, share insight, share wisdom. And I absolutely do have a tribe of people that I move with, that I work with, that I love, that I empower, that I support, and vice versa.
Mm-hmm. And that is important to have that support base, because in my own life I have a small cell group, and it's very, very small, because there's just so much out there, and so you kind of shift and move, and then you expand as Spirit kind of leads you to expand. But one of the things that I have noticed is that sometimes that tribe, that very intimate tribe, isn't necessarily people in your family. Sometimes it's like Spirit expands your definition of family. Have you had that experience?
Well, for me, that's for sure. I have this conversation with my mother quite often. It's something that she at times is challenged by, My notion of family is that the world is my family. There's the family you have by blood, and then there's the family you have by spirit, which is inclusive of everyone. My thing is I don't belong to my family. I belong to the world.
Right.
So, and I love the concept of as we're walking our path, we create family. The family is revealed to us, and, the aspect of family becoming this ever-expansive tribe as, you go out there and walk your path. My family is, it's infinite, it's innumerable, and that alone, in that sense, it really grounds me with a sense of fulfillment and purpose.
I totally understand where you're coming from, Brother Judah. To move the conversation forward, and just to stay in that same frame, I've been having a lot of dialogue lately with people about relationships, as far as not necessarily the tribe sort of relationships, but just intimate relationships. What has your experience been like? I call them conscious relationships with awakening individuals. What has your experience been like that as far as that particular area is concerned? Have you seen that come up in your counseling sessions?
Oh, absolutely. And my thing is, when I'm working with couples in particular, is to realign the couple with a collective vision, per se. So many people get into relationships of codependency, where they're dependent, you make me feel this way, you're supposed to make me feel this way. my thing is getting people together in a space where, as you say, the relationship is conscious, the relationship has a vision, the relationship has a purpose, and that greater purpose being to be divine expressions, to be closer to God, whatever your understanding of God is, and to really and truly align on what it is, what is family, what is intimacy, to have a goal, to have a picture that the relationship is moving toward.
Right. How do you find the balance in your own life and also in your counseling sessions when there's so much out there? Well, I hate to say it like that, but there's so much out there, and there are individuals that don't really cater to certain social norms. They want the world, and they're very spiritual, but yet they don't want to be grounded in relationships. What's your advice for them? Because like we said, relationships are a great thing, and I've seen in some cases you have one that's either very spiritual and the other who may not be on their wavelength. You know what I'm saying? How do you deal with those types of dynamics?
Well, I believe relationship is the greatest tool that we have for transformation because, it is through the mirror of relationship that we know ourselves. We cannot know ourselves. We cannot know ourselves by ourselves. So, right. When people really look at, anything that you're seeing outside of yourself is a reflection of yourself. You're not separate from whoever you encounter, relationships are the greatest teachers, especially the ones where you feel that you're on some higher plane than they are. The greatest teacher of equality, of oneness, and that great distinction of there's only one of us here. No matter what the level of relationship you're in, there's only one of us here. And what you're teaching, you're actually teaching yourself. What you're giving, you're actually giving yourself. What you're withholding, you're actually withholding from yourself. Relationship is, for me, a conscious relationship is one that is going to flush up all your stuff. It's going to bring up everything that gets in your way, holds you back, and, put it up for review and transformation.
Wow.
And you want to see how spiritual you are, get in a deep and intimate relationship with someone, and you will truly be tested in your spirituality.
So true, my brother. So true. Carl Jung and Joseph Campbell, they're a beautiful pair when you study them together. They both talked about this process of the unconscious projecting outward into the world and then drawing to the individual circumstances to aid in its own unfoldment. And relationships are that catalyst because, you have that animus and anime within you, and you look and you see the dimple and it reminds you of something you experienced, and you say, oh my, and then you grab it and you get with it, and then you're with it for about a year and you're like, oh my.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's powerful.
What a great teacher.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, to move the conversation forward, relationships and mentorship, they're very, very important. Folks, we're having a conversation today with Brother Judah Isvaran. He's a spiritual teacher, religious science practitioner, and spiritual counselor. If you haven't heard the first part of the segment, just log on to www.unity.fm. The archives will be available after 6 p.m., and you can download it for free, and they also are compatible with any of your handheld devices. There have been apps available for you to download through Live 365 and other sites that are available on the web. You can download it to your handheld device and listen to it live while you're driving in your car. So you definitely want to get all of the episodes, including this one right here, because this one right here is powerful. So, Brother Judah, in regards to relationships, where are you now? Are you, as a spiritual leader and teacher, are you in a relationship? What is your journey like in relationships?
Well, the thing is, when am I not in relationships? Currently, currently, by societal standards, I'm single but dating. Yeah, single but dating. But like I said, never out of relationship.
That's true, brother. I'm not trying to put you on the spot. I just have a follow-up question, because this is good stuff. Is it different, do you find, for those that are in leadership, so to speak? I know we all are leaders in our individual roles, but those that come out public to be teachers, do you find that it's different, or there's a little more pressure there?
Oh yeah, there's some aspect of pressure, but I also believe that, pressure is something that's self-created, and, of course, being in relationships are going to flush up your stuff. And, I believe it's our own personal self-judgment that says that, when you take the role of leadership, when you take the role of teacher, that I'm supposed to be living this way. It's almost like you want to be living perfectly versus inviting the imperfectly perfect being that you are. I think it's socially responsible for the leader, for the teacher, to pretend that they don't have breakdowns in their life, pretend that they don't have challenges in their life, and give the illusion of, I'm this perfect being who never experiences breakdown. I think the most powerful leaders amongst us are the ones who are able to show that they're on their path, they're doing their work, and, that emergent possibility is always coming through them. And, they teach showing how they use principles and distinctions to transcend breakdown, to transform breakdown, to transcend crisis.
Oh, wow. We're listening today with to Brother Judah Isvaran, religious science practitioner, spiritual counselor, and teacher extraordinaire. I'm Jesse Herriott. When we return, we'll continue the conversation with Brother Judah right here on Unity Online Radio. Stay tuned.
Wellness expert Dr. Michelle Robin on healthy living.
In the game of wellness, there's some basic habits that you need to embrace in order to live a well life.
In her book, Wellness on a Shoestring, Robin shows you that complete wellness of body, mind, and spirit doesn't have to cost a fortune. Client Eddie Penrice turned his health around with Dr. Robin's 7 Habits for a Healthy Life.
I've got to say my body just embraced the change. Besides feeling better, looking better, thinking more clearly.
Many of Robin's 7 Habits for a Healthy Life are simple and free. She offers tips and shares real stories from clients like Eddie, who've incorporated the habits into their lives and seen the results.
You can make this change by being convicted that you will do it, that you don't need anyone else's assistance or help to do it.
Make this the year you get healthy. Discover a low-cost, attainable path to feeling better than ever. Order Wellness on a Shoestring today at www.shopunity.org.
Is there a difference between the spiritual teachings you know and how you live your life? Does your day-to-day experience reflect what you truly value? Are you ready to receive your life and live the gift that you are? Join Janice Campbell, licensed Unity teacher, author, and coach each week as she shares inspiration and tools to help you identify and dissolve the limiting beliefs that prevent you from living the fullest expression of what you are. Talk with Janice live every Thursday at 9 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Central on Receive Your Life, only on Unity Online Radio, the voice of an awakening world.
You've been listening to Living on Purpose, where psychology meets spirituality. Now, here is your host, Jesse Herriott.
And we're back. Thank you, folks, for tuning in to Living on Purpose right here at Unity Online Radio. We're talking today with Brother Judah Isvaran, and if you missed the first segments of the show, first and second segment of the show, download it for free by logging on to www.unity.fm and click on Living on Purpose in the program directory, and then look for Judah, the interview with Brother Judah Isvaran, and click on the MP3 line and download the show for free. Download all of the archives and put them in your spiritual library. Brother Judah, just to continue the conversation, I want to play a word game with you. I do this with guests from time to time, just so that we can get your take and your feel for certain concepts and certain ideas, and this will also bless the audience and give them a wide range of your teaching, because relationships are important. But to move the conversation forward, let's talk about something that's very, very crucial in relationships. The first word I want to direct you is the word love.
Okay, so for me, love is what I am. It's the source and substance of what I'm made of. You know, it's the core, it's the essence of who I am. It's what I'm here to give, what I'm here to share, and it's something that cannot be found outside of yourself, because it is what you are.
That's powerful. Life.
For me, life is service. Simply put, to serve, and it's a vehicle of expression for your unique purpose.
Wow. Prosperity.
Freedom.
What do you mean? Could you elaborate just a little bit?
The freedom to be, do, and have anything that you desire.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. And you know what, I have a follow-up question before I throw the next word at you. Where is the balance between, because sometimes in New Thought you hear a focus on materiality, and there's nothing wrong with that, but do you think in your view could there be too much of a focus on material manifestation and not just embracing the whole of life and moving on, you know?
For me, in terms of abundance and prosperity, it's simply put, realizing that your source and substance is God. Whatever your understanding of God is that, you know, for me, abundance and prosperity is I'm funded by God. I'm not funded by the world, you know, and in knowing that, then I'm easily able to demonstrate prosperity in its various aspects, and, you know, its various aspects not only being money.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so many people just tie prosperity to, you know, the dollar bill, and it's so much more than that.
Right. I totally agree with you on that. This next one, though, it's very key. We talked about it a little bit, but I want to throw it at you again. Pain.
Wow. From in the center of pain is transformation. You know, in the center of pain is the seeds of your greatest possibilities. The pain is that transformational stew, you know, like I embrace pain on so many levels because I know pain is birth joy, is birth possibility.
It has, and it's the same for me too. I know when I first when I began this aspect of my journey, I kind of sort of had that naive realization that through this information, because it was so powerful and so expansive, and it was just so, you know, wow, you know, I kind of had the thought in the back of my mind that maybe I won't go through pain, maybe this is it, you know, and then I'll just ride this train of nirvana, you know, and it'll be all bliss, it'll be all wonderful. Boy, was I in for an awakening. Now, it did make the process easier.
When you bring awareness to pain, it then pain becomes a gift.
Yeah.
Because, you know, for me, pain guides us to what needs to be transformed. Pain guides us to what needs to be healed. Pain guides us to what needs to be awakened.
Mm-hmm. That's so true.
Suffering, on the other hand, is when we get attached to pain.
Oh, wow. Talk about that. Yes.
You know, some people, they're addicted to pain. You know, when you don't face pain consciously, then your life becomes about suffering. It becomes about the nonstop drama. You know, that's why I said you got to bring awareness to pain, because it's always directing you to your freedom, to your joy, to your possibilities.
That's true.
So when you attach to the drama, the pain, you know, when you're in victim consciousness, then, you know, there is no liberation from pain because you're stewing in it.
That's so true, brother. And that message there, that's like fundamental as far as our experience of life, because I talked with Tim Freak and some of the other guests, and there's that duality there where you get some folks that, you know, they just want to ignore pain, just, you know, it's not there, it's not there, it's not there, and try to look over it. And that's not what the whole affirmation treatment process is like.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You know, it's not about pretending that it's not there, but it's about realizing that it's an appearance, it's an illusion, it's a fact, but it's not the truth. You know,
right.
Like within the fact is the truth. You know, when you face it in that way, then, you know, pain becomes a liberator.
Mm-hmm. One more for you to piggyback off of pain. Fear.
False evidence appearing real is my favorite acronym. You know, when you are present, you cannot be in fear. You know, when you are present, you stand in love. You know, for me, fear is a memory of something from the past. Fear in some way is you clinging to the past. It's a memory of the past informing the present. And, you know, when we're in the present moment, there is nothing but perfection in front of you. Because when you bring awareness to the present moment, you only see possibility.
Mm-hmm. That's so true. Transformation.
Ooh, transformation. Wow, I love the distinction between transformation and change. You know, so many people speak about change, but, you know, change has a psychological aspect to it. Change takes maintenance. Transformation is a complete shift in your paradigm. It's a complete shift in your in your context, and in shifting your context and shifting your paradigm, there is no maintenance in it. It's complete liberation. it's a complete transcendence of any circumstance or situation. It's a transcendence in thinking.
Wow. That is amazing. And to go back to what you said before about awareness, the folks that are listening in and they're just hearing this information and they're sort of new to it, and for some of the veterans, give us your definition of awareness. What do you mean by awareness?
Just being awake and present to what's in front of you. You know, being awake and aware with what's in front of you, and dropping your preconceived notions about what it's supposed to be, the coulda, woulda, shoulda, and just facing something, just seeing things as is versus the way you wish it to be.
Is there any spiritual practice involved, or what sort of spiritual practices do you implement on a daily basis that can help the listeners become more of their authentic selves?
Well, you know, one of the greatest tools we can use is the power of prayer, or as they say in New Thought, you know, spiritual mind treatment. I also use meditation, daily contemplative reading. For me, those are my three most powerful tools that I use. And also the act of gratitude, you know, finding things to be grateful for, living in a constant state of gratitude and thanksgiving.
It's so true, and it makes you reflect inward. You know, because Carl Jung says, "He who looks inside awakens, but he who looks outside dreams." It sounds good, you know, like one of those cute colloquial sayings, but there's some truth in it. When that inner work, you know, it helps you to, you know, contribute to the evolution of everybody else around you. It's like when you do that and you have those experiences and that meditative experience, you know, when you go back out and open your eyes into the world does change. It's like people are different almost. You can deal with things. You know, answers are there. There's clarity there, you know?
You know, I love, one of my favorite quotes is the Gandhi quote, you know, be the change that you wish to see. You know, I take it a step further, be the transformation that you wish to see. But, you know, I really feel that most people don't understand those words that Gandhi spoke. You know, from my understanding of it, you know, Gandhi lived in that paradise that he was calling people to. You know, when he made that transformation in India, was regardless of the appearances of what was going going on in the physical world, he lived and embodied that place, that vision that he was calling people to. You know, he lived in that peace. He lived in that unity, and all he did was call people home. You know, all he did was call people home. And I think if people really took this very simple concept into their lives and realized that all change begins and ends with me, it doesn't begin and end outside of myself. So when I do the interior work, metaphysically, it shows up on the exterior. You know, so many of us are waiting for people to change, waiting for circumstances to change, rather than I am change, which is a powerful distinction. You know, that affirmation, I am change. And based on who I am and how I show up, and I become this beneficial presence on the planet. People see me and they see peace, they see love, they see understanding, they see compassion. I'm walking it, I'm demonstrating it. And that's how we create transformation on the planet, by being it ourselves.
Wow. That's amazing. Folks, we're all out of time this weekend. We thank you, Brother Judah, for speaking with us today. We hope you'll come back and bless us through the transformative work you're doing. Real quick, how do we get a hold of your work?
Well, my website is currently under construction at www.judahisvaran.com. You can also find me via Facebook. I have a fan page and a regular page, and also my office number 323-230-3389, and have a training coming up in Nebraska, the Quantum Breakthrough Course, the 3-day course in living life from a space of mastery. So look me up, call me up. Love to support you, empower you. And brother, thank you very much for having me on the show today.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. Thanks so much, folks, for tuning in this week to Living on Purpose, Unity Online Radio. This program is made possible by the generous support of listeners like you, and make a special contribution to help keep this Unity Partner program on the air. Just go to jesseherriott.com and click donate. One quick announcement for you: if you're in the Decatur or Atlanta, Georgia area, and you would like to participate in an educational experience to help you shift into your purpose, I've been blessed to teach alongside some of the best academic teachers in the Southeast in an exciting program called Kairos Institute. Classes start on September 15th, and applications are online at www.adtretreats.com. Early registration has already started, and open house is this Thursday, June 7th, from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. For more information, log onto the website or just call 404-455-2574. Thanks for joining us this week. Love someone, laugh much, and remember to live on purpose.
Thank you for tuning in to Living on Purpose, where psychology meets spirituality with Jesse Herriott. Listen in live every Tuesday at 9 a.m. Central Time for more insights into psychology, ancient wisdom, and how it connects to your life today. Living on Purpose, only on Unity Online Radio, the voice of an awakening world. This program is brought to you in part by www.jesseherriott.com, where psychology meets spirituality. Connect with us on Facebook and YouTube. Keyword search Jesse Herriott.
Starting a business is a leap of faith. Growing a business is an act of courage. Staying true to your calling while navigating the challenges of business ownership is nothing short of a miracle. Whether you're a lifelong entrepreneur or you're just now getting the itch to hang up your shingle, the Spiritual Entrepreneur will help you create miracles in your business. Hosted by spiritual mentor and business coach Mindy Odlin, you'll learn spiritually focused business strategies to help you experience prosperity from the inside out. Mark your calendar and join Mindy live every Monday at 5 p.m. Central for the Spiritual Entrepreneur, only on Unity Online Radio, the voice of an awakening world.
Inspiration only takes a moment. As Reverend Felicia Blanco Circe points out in her book, Do Greater Things, there is the potential for joy, wholeness, and expansiveness designed into every moment. And the miracle is when we recognize the constant presence of these qualities all around us. Once we see what is possible, our lives then begin to change.
This meditative moment is brought to you by Unity.
You have a good life and are grateful for it. But what if you stretched beyond good and shifted to amazing? Join Reverend Temple Hayes, Senior Minister of the First Unity Campus in St. Petersburg, Florida, as she guides you on a journey to an amazing life. Transcend the need for acceptance of others and be an example of living the truth. Empower your life and fully express the wondrous energy, love, and joy you hold in your wildest imagining. Joyfully and actively know that more important than what happens after you die is the deeper and enriching concern for what happens while you're living. How can you experience an amazing life right now? Learn how each week on From Good to Amazing. Mondays at 4 p.m. Central Time, right here on Unity Online Radio, the voice of an awakening world.